Welcome to the series where I test out the OSRS Wiki money-making guides. I started this series almost a year ago, and since then we've tried out multiple methods even if they're a little silly, such as picking bananas or even flax. If you enjoy these types of videos, then feel free to check out the playlist that I've made for them, and feel free to leave a suggestion down in the comments for a method that you'd like to see tested. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's moneymaker, as you already know by reading the title, we will be crafting ruby jewelry. Now, specifically for this video, we're going to be making the ruby amulets since they provide us the most profit. But before trying out this moneymaker, do a little bit of price checking and see which one is going to net you the most money. So as for supplies, all we have is 1500 rubies and 1500 gold bars, as well as the amulet mold to make the actual amulets. Besides that, you don't need anything else. So as for the bank setup, we just have them right here in the corner of our bank. All we're going to do is retrieve 13 at a time. You can select the X quantity option so you can left click and retrieve 13. And then from here, we just run over to the furnace, make the jewelry, come back, deposit it, and grab more supplies. And repeat the process for a full hour. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So as for the method for this moneymaker, it is very simple. All we're doing is running to the furnace in Edgeville, clicking on it, and then selecting all to make a full inventory of these ruby amulets. Now, I did want to say, definitely do a price check to see which ruby jewelry is the best to make. Currently, at the time of this voiceover, ruby necklaces are actually better than amulets. When I first started making this video, I tried amulets because whenever I checked the margins, they looked to be really good. But by the time I finished the 1 hour of making the amulets, they had dropped down in price. So it wasn't as profitable as ruby necklaces. I think ruby necklaces, for the most part, are always going to be more money whenever you're making jewelry, especially in free-to-play. But of course, just double check to make sure that it is the best profit. Now, the cool thing about making necklaces over amulets is that the crafting requirement is actually lower. With ruby necklaces, you only need a crafting requirement of level 40, and with the amulets that we are making here, we need a crafting requirement of level 50. So it is going to be a trade-off. If you choose to make the amulets like I did, you'll be getting more XP but less money per hour. And if you do it the other way around, you can see more money and then less XP. You can even choose to make ruby rings, which have the lowest crafting requirement at level 34, and they still make you a nice bit of profit. I did check the margins again right now, and ruby rings are actually more profit than ruby amulets, so there you go. Now, this isn't the only jewelry that you can make in free-to-play. I think a couple years ago I did make a video on making emerald necklaces, and the same goes for all types of necklaces, sapphire, diamond, you name it. Just make sure that you do a price check to see which one is the most profitable for that day. Now, in case you were wondering why this is even profitable, the jewelry that you make here does turn into some pretty important items, starting with the ruby ring that can be turned into the ring of forging. And what this does is it allows you to smelt iron ore with a 100% success rate. Now, this does have a few charges, I believe it's 140, but it is cool because this is an item that is available in free-to-play now. I don't think that was always the case. Now, moving on to the next item, we have the ruby necklace, which is turned into the dig site pendant. Now, while you can't sell this on the Grand Exchange, it is still a very important item that has some pretty useful teleports. This item is restricted to members only worlds, however, and you do need to complete the dig site quest to make it and use it. And moving on to the last bit of jewelry that we're making, which is what we're doing right now, it is the ruby amulets. These can be strung into, well, ruby amulets, and then they can be enchanted to make amulets of strength, which is a pretty popular item, especially in free-to-play. Now, regardless of which jewelry you decide to make, since you're not currently enchanting it yourself, they can all be sold on the GE, but if you do want to make the dig site pendants for whatever reason, just keep in mind that you can't actually sell those. Those are just for personal use. Now, there was one tip that the wiki page mentioned, and it was to only run when you are returning to the bank. Apparently, that'll save on run energy since the trip from the bank to the furnace is whenever you're carrying the most weight. But with me, I didn't really worry about that. I just ran the entire time, and after a full hour, I still had a full stamina bar. I didn't need to walk at all or drink any energy potions, but to be fair, I do have 99 agility, and I'm pretty sure that played a big role in this. So if you really want to be efficient, you can choose to walk half the time, but I think you're still better off just buying an energy potion. They're not very expensive, and it should last you a long time if you are planning on doing this moneymaker for a long period of time. Now this moneymaker actually ties into the moneymaker from last week, which was casting High Alchemy. If you choose to, you could cast High Alchemy on these items to still get a profit and even some magic XP. Now obviously you won't be making as much money if you just sold them straight to the GE, but it is an option if you are looking to get some magic XP as well. But that is pretty much it for this moneymaker. Very simple, very straightforward. And before we go, I just wanted to say I find it kind of weird how there were men being slaughtered throughout the entirety of this video north of me, and there's guards nearby and they choose to do nothing about it. So yeah, be careful out there. So after 1 hour of crafting these ruby amulets, we are left with 1,332 for a total price value of 1.3 mil. Let's go ahead and head over to the GE, sell it off, and calculate the total profit from this 1 hour. So here we are at the GE. It looks like each one sells for 1,009 coins, which is a bit unfortunate. I think right now necklaces are probably worth more. So if you are going to do this moneymaker, that's probably the way to go. The reason why I chose these first is because the actively traded price was much higher, and it actually was trading for that price for a while. So that's why I decided to do these, but they dropped back down to the market price, which is still fine. We're going to make a decent amount of money, but yeah, always do a price check. And I think for the most part, necklaces are probably the way to go. But once again, make sure you do a price check. And as we can see, it didn't take any time at all for them to sell. We have the total value right here, 1.3 mil. Let's go ahead and calculate the total profit. So if we take into account the cost of supplies, that was 1,182,816 GP. Subtract that from the money we made, which was 1,330,668 GP. That gives us a grand total profit of 147,852 GP from 1 hour of crafting these ruby amulets. And like I said, you can probably make more if you go the necklace route, so definitely look into that. And not only did we get a nice amount of money for an AFK moneymaker, but we also got a nice bit of crafting XP. Over 100,000 crafting XP was gained in this 1 hour. Not bad for a free-to-play moneymaker. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and thank you to all of my channel members, with a special thanks to ACR Beans. Once again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next episode.